Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. Good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. The bell has just rung. And today, of course, let's talk about what to expect for this week. Big conference going on. Debt ceiling woes still ongoing. But this Bitcoin pattern has never, ever failed. So let's talk about it. Welcome, guys. Today's looking green so far. Green. And that's good. Who doesn't like green? Paul Tudor Jones, big Bitcoin bull, says no more. No more to rate hikes. And stocks will finish higher from here on out. That's what we all want to hear, right? No one wants to hear about more rate hikes in the U.S. Inflation is coming down, still elevated, still not at the projection rate of 2-3%. However, Paul Tudor Jones argues that we had CPI reading go down for 12 straight months. Has never, ever happened before, and enough is enough. So that means if they start, well, maybe not cutting, but they just don't raise anymore. But maybe, you know, we will get some cuts at the end of the year or maybe beginning of next year. Regardless, no more rate hike is good. I mean, it's really ridiculous. If you guys have seen recently what a mortgage rate looks like or a car loan rate looks like, utterly ridiculous. A car loan is, we're talking about 8+% for a car loan. Some are 6 or 7, but you have 8% for car loans, and then mortgages are 6-7%. It's absolutely ridiculous how expensive it is to borrow money at this point in time, but that's exactly the point. The Fed does not want anyone to borrow to buy anything. Powell wants everyone to just stop buying in general, right? So this could be a really good thing for the remainder of the year, obviously. The next FOMC meeting for June, there's an 86% chance that we don't go up, 14% chance that we do, and a 0% chance that we will get a cut. Well, who knows? If we get more bank failures, keep in mind the stress on the banks still ongoing. It's not like they got new business. Because I just said interest rates are so high, it's really hard for banks to get any business. I hear commercial loans have absolutely been decimated. There's no commercial loans. There's no retail loans. I mean, these banks are struggling to operate. That's why a lot of them are actually, I hear, are offering rates at prime rate, basically, which really has never been done before in history, but they're so desperate for business. But yeah. So, you know, we got an interesting remainder of this year. But what about this week? Well, you have more data, a lot of data for this week. Manufacturing index, which I will show in a little bit. And it's actually really bad. Retail sales, housing, jobless claims, and then Philly's manufacturing index, existing home sales, right? These will definitely sway one way or another. Powell, because he looks at these things, right? He looks at all of these data points. And then you have a lot of FOMC guys, members or governors or presidents that will be speaking this week. That's a lot. You have Monday today, you have 2 on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Friday, and then finally the man himself, Powell, on Friday. I don't know why they all need to be speaking this week. I actually don't know if this is like FOMC, you know, speak week or something. I don't know why. There's no reason for it, but probably sway markets one way or another, depending on how hawkish or dovish these guys are. But I mentioned that New York manufacturing data, and it actually was horrible. expected to be minus 4%. Instead of it went down to minus 31%. So it shows you manufacturing in New York has slowed to a crawl. Okay, basically. And that's not good. Again, effects of the rate hikes, right? So it's not just about borrowing too. It's just businesses that actually need loans to survive. Well, they're not getting them. And then plus the people out there that are buying the goods are starting to slow down, right? So if we start seeing a lot of this stuff happen later this year, where all the economic data that shows everything is declining, but not only declining, but really alarmingly declining, then it may force Powell to actually cut rates later this year, which will make markets skyrocket. That could be in play too. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff, moving parts. The market is very fluid right now. Even though it's weak, it's still weak for sure. It's not like we started rallying in a big way, but things are looking better for markets because no rate hikes, but everyone's still studying the macro stuff, right? Did Powell go too far? And what about this debt ceiling? The debt ceiling I've been talking about so long. I'm sick of talking about it, but you know, everyone is still wondering what's going on. And what would happen if the U.S. defaults? Well, according to this poll, professional investors and retail investors, most will flock to gold. Kind of makes sense. Most people still think gold is the store value that you turn to when there's major economic problems or financial distress, right? Number two surprises me. Treasuries. Now, if the U.S. can't pay its debts, its credit rating will tank. So I don't know why anyone would flock to U.S. Treasuries, because basically there's fear that the U.S. may not be able to pay them. Even if the Treasury notes or bonds shoot up to 10% or 15% to attract buyers, but why would you put money into Treasuries if there's a chance that you're not going to get that interest or even get your money back? So I don't know. This number two doesn't make sense. And retail investors, 15% retail investors is going to go Treasuries. I don't think they actually quite understand what it means to default. So that number two, I'm just going to subtract because it doesn't make sense to me. Number three makes sense, Bitcoin. And the very fact that Bitcoin is above the dollar, the yen, the franc, and something else. What's something else? It could be anything else. You know, that's amazing. And if you take out the treasuries, which I still think is BS, Bitcoin is at number two right behind gold. But obviously, Bitcoin is not as big as gold. The market cap is nowhere as big, not as widely known yet or widely held, but it will get there someday. But the very fact that Bitcoin is even up here, keep in mind, it's only been out for, 14 years? For something to be created and now seen as a hedge or a store value that can one day equal and surpass gold. I mean, think about it. That's just freaking amazing, right? Really, really amazing. Again, I don't know who's going to flock to treasuries if the U.S. defaults. That makes no sense at all. Bank failure still ongoing, right? I just like to show this because this is a cool, nifty chart of the disaster that happened in 2008, 2009, right? And the three that we had this year, even though it seems tame in comparison in terms of the number of bank failures, but the dollar amounts are not that different. If we have like one or two more regional banks go under, with the amount of assets they have, we could have equal damage this year versus 2008, 2009. If you think about that, that's mind-boggling, right? That's crazy. That's really crazy. Anyways, because of all the craziness, you know what? New milestone. More than 1 million addresses hold Bitcoin. I mean, these keep going up. this is under 1. You have 0.1 to 1 and then 0.001 to 0.01. Both, you could see, pretty much mimicking each other. And it makes sense because one is included in the other, right? But still, you could see both are going up exponentially and never ending. Just keeps going up. Despite, look at the price. Even though the price has been coming down from the top, you know, the address growth has not stopped and continues to go up and up and up and up and up. And of course, number of addresses with more than one, now over 1 million. But rest assured, not 1 million people on the planet has one Bitcoin. A lot more people have more than one address. Okay, so the number of actual whole coiners out in the world, who knows? Maybe it's like 200,000, 300,000, right? But it ain't a million. So if you're one of those, be proud that you are among the elite Bitcoin holders. Because if you consider that the world has, what, 8+ billion people, and you're one of, let's say, 200,000, that puts you in the upper echelon. So pat yourself on the back, and if you don't have one Bitcoin, well, that's a really good goal to have. And, you know, I put this on the thumbnail. This is the pattern that never fails. 1 year before the halving event, then the top. And the pattern is pretty obvious that the halving will be at a higher point than the 1 year before point. And the top will be higher than the halving. And every single top is higher than the previous top. I mean, it's just really that simple. You zoom out, this pattern has held ever since the beginning, has not been broken, and I don't believe we will break it. And another pattern is every halving event is higher than the previous one, and every bottom, the 1 year before mark, is higher than the previous 1 year before. So every single metric that's measurable, or every single stopping point, I should say, every single point here, everyone just forms higher and higher. Now, because of the law of diminishing returns, yes, you can't have the same kind of like parabolic growth. We will start slowing down, right? But still, higher highs, higher lows, higher halvings. Every single thing is higher, right? So from now on to the halving event, which is approximately this time next year, we will probably see Bitcoin slowly rise up. To what point? I don't know, 40, 50,000. And then from that point on, we will form a new high. And where's that new high? Well, according to this person, it could be $500,000. Rather than go up by 1,000, right? Like I seen like Plan B's stock to flow, every increment is 1,000 or 10x of starting with 1,000. This one is starting from 500. And you can't dispute it because it's been right. 500, you do a 10x to 5,000, do a 10x to 50,000. You do a 10x again. Can we hit 500,000 by the end of 2025? We will see. We will see. That would be crazy. I mean, again, if there's a possibility, why would you want to miss out on that? That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what else? I saw this. Remember when China kicked out all the miners, supposedly? And I told you guys, China has a bigger plan, right? And now this plan is obviously now showing. Because after they kicked out all the miners, supposedly, and the hash rate dropped to nothing. I know this is a little small, but the yellow-orange is the Chinese miners. Look at the hash rate once again. The hash rate has increased and picked up huge. Now, the hash rate in the United States, which is in pink, is still the largest right now. But you could see China's hash rate is ever so climbing rapidly, and soon will probably equal the United States once again, right? Like, what's the deal there? Well, we know that China is going really pro with Hong Kong right now, right? Trying to make Hong Kong the new Web3 hub. but they're not giving up on Bitcoin either. So, I mean, China has an agenda right now. In the U.S., because of the SEC, we just don't know. We just don't. It's just so hard to operate a crypto company in the U.S. I saw this. It looks like a nice gesture, but it's really not. Because SEC fought against LBRY, tried to declare two things, that they had a legal token offering, which they won, and then they tried to declare LBRY a security, which they lost. So LBRY can exist as is, as a non-security, but the problem is it was so costly to fight the SEC, they are bankrupt. SEC imposed a $22 million fine, which they know that LBRY can't pay. So now they revised it to $111,000. Yet LBRY spent countless millions to battle the SEC for a fine that's $111,000. But anyways, the SEC won because it basically bankrupted them, right? So this is the problem. Unless you are like Ripple and you have like $200 million at your disposal, you can't fight the SEC, even if you are a non-security. This is why everyone is in distress right now. If you're a crypto company or project, it doesn't matter what field you're in, you're scared of the SEC because even though you know you're right, even though you have your lawyers check and make sure you ticked all the marks in terms of the project not being a security, it doesn't matter because if the SEC comes after you and you don't have $200 million, you will be crushed, right? And unfortunately, this is the reason why so many are trying to move out of the country and go to Hong Kong or go somewhere else because of this stance. And that's why we need to change it, or we're going to lose all innovation in this country. And that would be bad. Very, very bad. What else is there? You know, I don't know what happened here. Or maybe some rift. People have noticed that CZ is no longer following Elon Musk. Why is that? No one knows. People are speculating. Can it have something to do with this? Elon Musk recently, tweeted about Pepe and sent Pepe up like 60%. So could it have something to do with that? Or CZ knows what's coming. It's speculated, again, this is total rumorville, could be totally off base, that Elon is getting ready to release their crypto wallet. And not only that, but within the wallet may have swapping capabilities, which basically makes Twitter a competitor to Binance. Now, totally speculation, right? But Elon loves his memes. He loves memes. He thinks the most unlikely outcome, how did he put it? The most unlikely scenario can become the biggest. I don't know how he said it, but basically he thinks that making memes into something real is the ultimate joke, right? This is the reason why he loves Doge. It's so unlikely for Doge to succeed. That's why he's supporting it, basically, right? And he may be doing that with all memes soon. Maybe this swap is for all memes, which is why he put this out, because he recognizes Pepe, and that's the reason why. So I don't know. I have not seen any Dogecoin tweets recently or Doge tweets. He did not go, he never supported Sheeb or any other dog coins. But he supported Pepe, which is weird. But anyways, people are speculating. There might be some other reason. Or maybe CZ accidentally hit unfollow. Who knows? But, something's brewing. Something's brewing behind the scenes. Or maybe nothing is brewing. I don't know. Just interesting to talk about. Anyways, Bitcoin is up a little bit. The entire crypto market cap is up a little bit. 27.4. We're going into Bitcoin 2022 or 2023. Wow. Yeah, that's on Thursday and Friday. So can we see a good pump beforehand? Maybe, maybe. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. Good morning from Las Vegas. Don't buy eggs you can't afford. I guess that's true. Nasdaq is killing it today. I don't know about killing it. Now things are back in the red, except for Nasdaq, barely up. Paul Tudor Jones interview where he says Fed is done raising rates didn't seem to help a whole lot. Now Dow is down negative 100. Don't believe the FUD. U.S. protecting banks at all costs. Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. It would be wild if Twitter integrated DEX. That's for sure. Gala merged today. Yup. No news on Gala. You guys need to stop asking about Gala stuff. I don't know what's happened with exchanges. I know that Trust Wallet, if you have your Gala in a self-custody wallet, you'll be fine. But as for all these other exchanges like Coinbase and whether or not Binance.us, Binance I think supports the airdrop, but Binance.us is questionable. I don't know. These US exchanges are really worried about anything that's labeled an airdrop because again, I don't know. They're afraid of the wrath of the SEC. They'd rather not have that. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why Coinbase is not supporting it, but you guys need to follow Gala's Twitter to get up to date information. Will Binance quit the US like it did in Canada? Probably not, because Binance.us is a separate entity. Binance actually purchased some trading firm and labeled it Binance.us, but they're complying to US, so I think they're good. We're talking about Binance.com that exited Canada. They may come out their own. Binance has like separate exchanges in some countries just for that reason, but Binance.us seems to be okay so far. Not to say that there's no chance they won't exit, but it doesn't seem likely. Arbitrum and Optimism. Daniel, what do you want to know about them? The biggest L2s. So, we look at Arbitrum. Arbitrum is at number 4. Actually, number 3. You got discount Tron. All Tron numbers are not real. So Arbitrum is number 3 and Optimism is at number 5. A lot of TVL on these chains. Quickly catching up to Binance, Smart Chain, and Polygon. Can we still use Binance in Canada? I heard someone said they will pull out in September, so I guess up until then. If you had to pick one crypto-related conference to attend over the year, which would you recommend? I want to attend one. See, Brent, that's a tricky question because I've spoken to a lot of projects like the insiders, the ones that want to make connections. They all say they go to consensus, or they did go to consensus. But I don't feel like it's really retail friendly. Like if you want to talk to the developers and projects as a retail investor, I don't think consensus is the right place to go. I think a lot of these ETH conferences like ETH Denver or ETH Paris, wherever, I think that would be more retail friendly. And Bitcoin 2023 is definitely more retail friendly, but unfortunately it's just related to Bitcoin only. There's like no other projects that really go there. I don't know. And then like NFT NYC, I think that would be decent. A lot of people went, but it's more around, you know, gaming and NFTs. So I don't know. I think one of the ETH conferences would probably be the best. I mean, Bitcoin 2023 isn't bad either. I mean, it's enormous. I went there last year. That's why I'm going this year. What's your opinion on Algorand? I don't know. I don't have anything against him. I was really into him before, but recently, not so much. I think that they're very early with their DeFi, with TVL, with all this stuff. But I had high hopes when they made a partnership with FIFA to be the official NFT partners for the World Cup, and that led to nothing, absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I think they're still promising, but obviously the SEC declaring them a security is no good. I forgot who they sued that declared Algorand a security. I think Bittrex or someone. And Gary used to speak highly of Algorand, and then now he declared them a security. Is Cosmos layer 0? Dot is layer 0. I mean, a lot of these are layer 0s. Yeah, you think about it. There's more that's layer 0s. I don't like to say layer 0 because it confuses the hell out of people, but layer 0 is basically, if you think about like a consensus layer that serves no purpose other than to help other chains come aboard, I guess. So everything within Cosmos that you hear about are their own L1s. So that's what makes them a layer 0. Like you can't build a dApp on top of Cosmos. You have to build a L1 on top of Cosmos. Polkadot, I guess, is the same way. Yeah. So yeah, they are L0s. There's other L0s too, but they're very small. I don't hear about a lot of stuff happening on Polkadot other than like Moonbeam. Moonbeam is huge on Polkadot. And I'd say huge lightly because they're not actually that big either. But besides that, I don't know of any. Engine, you know, they were a gaming play. They had a Infinity chain that came out on Polkadot, but I don't hear about that anymore. I don't hear about any L1s on Polkadot. That's why a lot of times people ask me, what's going on with Polkadot? I honestly don't know what's going on with Polkadot. I never hear anything. I don't hear anything about Gavin Wood either. There's just no news coming out about Polkadot. But you know what? They're still holding at number 11, so they're not doing too shabby. Am I going to VCOD? No, because that's when Bitcoin 2023 is going on. Either doesn't matter. I'm sure there's stuff happening, okay? Don't take what I said like, oh, they're a dead chain. No, I'm sure there's development going on, but I don't hear about them at all. No, there's no news coverage at all. With every chain that exists in the top 100, even a top 200, I'm sure there's development happening, but a lot of them are very slow. A lot of them just projects you never hear about. Troy, I still see a lot of new L1s taking the lead this run. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so bullish on L1s and L2s, because they're basically the operating system, they're backbone of the dApps, right? It's like betting on Windows or OS X, or iOS or Android. It's like kind of betting on the base platform, right? That's what makes them so valuable, because all future dApps will run on top of them. Lakers versus Nuggets. Is that today? Ooh, yesterday, Embiid and Harden disappeared. Wow. And then Embiid had audacity in a press conference afterwards to say, "Oh, you can't win with one person." And then he was going to throw Harden under a bus, and then he included him in there. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can't win. We can't win it alone." Meaning him and Harden. We need more help, even though Tobias Harris had more points than either one of them. Embiid was throwing everyone under the bus. And that was not a good look because they played so poorly. And Harden disappeared. What happened to those 45-point games? See, Harden can't handle. He can't handle. This is the reason why Houston never got past Golden State. They will go to 7 games, but in that 7th game, he would struggle every single time. He can't handle that pressure of a game 7 or the last game when it counts. That's the problem with Harden. Like, he's one of the greatest regular season players ever, but when it comes down to it in the playoffs, he just chokes. Does the U.S. have a set plan on when they're going to dump the remaining? They had like a schedule, but I don't know the schedule. They did, out of the 50,000, they sold 10,000, and there's 40,000 left. They're going to do like 10,000 every so often. I don't know when the next one is. Yeah, Jokic should have won MVP. They gave it to Embiid because Perkins was trying to, say that, all the judges were racist or something like that, and they only picked Jokic because he was white. It was just utterly stupid, and that created this narrative, and then people were afraid to vote for Jokic again. He's the best player of the number 1 seed, the best team in the NBA. That's how MVPs are usually voted. You look at a top team and who's the best player of the top team, that's your MVP. It should have been Jokic again. I don't know. That's just my thing. NMCT, I'm from Houston. What you said breaks my heart, but it's so true. It is. Houston, those series, I remember those battles with Golden State were so good. So good. But when it came to that game 7, Harden disappeared. He just disappeared every single time. And there was that one year where they would have won had Chris Paul not gotten hurt, because Chris Paul is not afraid to take big shots. And he's good at making those big shots. But he was injured like the final game or the final 2 games of that series when they were up like 3-1 or something or 3-2 and they lost it. That was heartbreaking. Houston should have defeated them. Houston could have won the championship. But you know, never happened. Cadena and Gala have dropped massively without recovering a bit. Any thoughts? I don't have any thoughts. I think Cadena has still good tech. Gala still dominating in terms of gaming platforms. So, yes, those are my thoughts. A lot of projects have not recovered at all because it's not really altcoin season. So a lot of the altcoins have struggled. And this comes down to also what I said about Polkadot. I'm sure there's a lot of activity going on with all these projects, but people don't really hear about them often, right? And people don't hear about them, they lose interest, and then they kind of just move on to something else. So marketing is important. These projects need to realize that they need to not like pay for ads or anything, but they need to get the word out. They need to put it on their Twitter often or put on Medium. Make sure that, you know, Cointelegraph or You Today or whoever is talking about it so people will still know, right? Otherwise, no one knows and they just lose interest and they give up. This Denver series is going to be very important, very hard. But Lakers are on a roll. I mean, they're just playing really good. The role players for Lakers, you know, LeBron got them to believe. They all believe they could win. They have this swagger. Like, you just tell everyone on a Lakers team, they're not scared. They have the swagger like they already know they won. And when you have that kind of confidence, it's so hard to defeat. I mean, they just shut down Klay Thompson like he was a nobody. It's hard. It's impossible to stop Steph, but there were times they frustrated Steph so much he couldn't even get a shot off. They're going to do that. They're going to do that when they eventually play the Celtics in the finals. They're going to do that. If they shut down Tatum, it's over. Shapeshift. Vintage. Which Shapeshift? Is that the DEX? I don't know if they're DEX. They're like a swap. All right, guys. Let's conclude. Overall today. Today should be a good day, but now turning a red day. You know, people are still worried about economic stuff, economic data today. New York manufacturing index is bad. Still bank woes. Still a lot of FOMC speakers today. I don't know why. I think people are more afraid of this. Yeah, there's just still a lot of stuff going on, unfortunately. So a lot of fear, but you know what? Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin fundamentals, the number of holders keep going up. We're still on track. So all is good. All is well. All right, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.